All right, welcome. You are at Prep2Connect. This is going to teach you everything that you need to know about Internship Connect coming up on October 26th and 27th. So we're going to go through everything that you need to know about the event, being prepared for it, getting the most out of this event as possible. Like many things that we do in the Career Center, this is modeled after a real-world experience. So you get ready for Prep2Connect. You get ready to talk to people about what internships or opportunities they may have available, or trying to network with them for the future. Well, this models the real world exactly. The difference is we have a world record this year of over 80 companies that have stepped up, paid good money to be involved in this event, to meet with all of you. So that's an awesome accomplishment, and it's a testament to all of the hard work and skill you all represent here at RISD. So we'll go through all of the details tonight. I'm presenting with my fearless leader here, Susan Anderson, who's Associate Director of the Career Center. I'm a Senior Career Advisor. As we're going through this information, we want to make sure that you stop us, ask questions, whatever you need. So let's make sure that you get everything that you need before leaving tonight, okay? All right, deal. So our agenda for this evening, just to give you like an overview of what we're going to cover. We're going to tell you what the event is like, how you can sign up. This piece is kind of technical. It uses our artwork system to sign up. We'll go through everything that you need to know. Who you can meet with as part of this event. What materials you need to participate. What you should say to employers. This is always something that has students maybe sometimes feeling a little bit anxious. You're trying to figure out what to say. You get your moment to speak to people. We're going to get through all of that tonight. And how to follow up, maybe the most important part. Anytime you make a connection, anytime you go to an event like this, the follow-up is key. That's what makes you remembered and hopefully gets you in the door for a really cool internship. So we'll start right in. What is this event going to be like? So it's Internship Connect Remote. It takes place on Wednesday and Thursday, October 26th and 27th from 6 to 9 p.m. Probably the most important thing to get right out there, this is going to be a remote event. We've had amazing success with this remote mode of events over the past, years since the pandemic started. And we know that you're going to have a great experience through this process. And the basics, it's professionals out in the world that are interested in RISD talent, and it lines up you students who are interested in future internships. It's eligible for sophomores to seniors and fifth year and graduate students. You're all eligible. First year students are not eligible for this as a first year student, but you can definitely participate next year as a sophomore. And are there any first year students here tonight? Okay, cool. Oh, great. There will be excellent information tonight that will be applicable to anything that you want to do for finding an internship this summer if you wish. So this is not going to be a waste of your time. So students that are interested will sign up in advance. The sign-ups open on October 19th. And this is to hopefully get onto schedules for 15-minute remote meetings with professionals. So the sign-ups take place on October 19th and 20th, which is coming up soon. And the actual meetings will take place on October 26th and 27th. Okay? These conversations are a chance to share your information about yourself, to learn about any opportunities at the host company, and to build your network and your connections with companies that you're interested in. The the conversations may or may not lead to an internship or to a long-term contact. So we just want to say that. Like sometimes you hear about people that do get internships at the event. That's great. It does happen. But it also doesn't happen, and that's okay. This is all about connecting and making connections for your future. The meetings are not interviews, and they're also not portfolio reviews. This is kind of a traditional job fair where you go and introduce yourself, share your information, and learn more about the company, okay? You may find that you can share a portfolio sample or something like that if there's time, but really going into it, the expectation is that it's really built for conversations and networking, all right? So you can think of this event as like the beginning of your internship search in a way. So while we're all fresh, we just started this presentation. I'm going to go through some of the technical information about how to set up. We're also going to go through a lot of other things that are really cool about the event. But let's go through the sign-up process first. So I want to get some terms out of the way. You know, you heard me mention that like these are not interviews, they're really meant to be conversations. Well, when we're talking about artworks, there are some terms that we need to translate here right up front. So we have a feature that's called on-campus interviews. These are the things that you'll be using to sign up to get on to company schedules. Even though that name is on-campus interviews, it really equals Internship Connect meeting. You're having a meeting with a representative from the company. When you see reference to interview time slot in the system, that's only because that's the vehicle that we're using in the system. It's an interview time slot, but it's really meant to be a meeting time slot. And when you apply, and you'll hear us talk about applying to an on-campus interview, that is not to say that you're applying to a job or something like that. This is the way that you're essentially like submitting your resume and optional portfolio sample so that the employer gets that information, okay? So I just wanted to get that out there, and I'll try to touch on that through the duration of the presentation from time to time, because I know it can get a little confusing. So how do we get ready for signups? So as I said, the signups are taking place on October 19th at 6 p.m. The signups are first come, first serve, and the time slots do fill up quickly. So normally we have hundreds of students that are all competing for time slots with these companies. And so we're going to give you some tips. Since you guys came out of your way to be a part of this event and learn everything you can, this information should give you some advantages in the sign-up process. First of all, it's helpful to create a top list of companies before signups take place on the 19th. When you're in Artworks and you're looking at a company or an OCI, there's a heart icon that you can click to favorite these organizations or companies. In advance, it's a great idea to load your resume, and if you wish to use a portfolio sample, it's optional, you don't need to, but if you create a portfolio sample, you're welcome to load that into your profile as well. And the great thing about this remote event is that we can do it from 6 to 9 p.m. We've found that this has really avoided most of the classes. However, if you have a late class, just please make sure to get permission from your faculty before participating in Internship Connect. So first of all, we recommend that we hope that most of you have logged into Artworks before. If you have not, definitely take a chance to get in and log into Artworks. Very rarely we see a problem with your profile data that we would love to resolve in advance. Like, what happens if you wait until the last minute to log in and you realize, uh-oh, something's wrong with my profile? It probably won't happen, but let's just make sure of that, okay? So try to log in advance. And as a tip, we do recommend using a laptop for the sign-up process. If people know Artworks, they probably know that It works well on a mobile device. However, for the sign-up process, way better to be on a laptop. Now, just to show you where you can upload your documents, you can go to your Artworks profile. So in Artworks, under the Home button, you can click Profile. Now, here, this test account has a test resume already loaded that you can see. So if that's fine and that's up to date, great. If not, you'll want to click Add New Resume to add a resume. And if we're talking about a portfolio sample, unfortunately, we don't have like a special file called portfolio sample. So you go down to Others and you click Add Other Document. And this is where you can upload your portfolio sample. Please keep in mind that they recommend using a PDF file for one thing, and there is a file limitation of 5 megs. So be mindful of that too. This is also a reason why it's a great idea to do this stuff before signups, okay? Because you don't want to be screwing around with this when you're trying to rush and get onto a schedule. So how to find companies. When you're in the Artwork system, you can go over to the left and click OCI and Job Listings, as we are here. And then at the top, you can see OCI as the second option. So you can click OCI. And then you can see all of the OCIs that are available. And you may have noticed that there were little heart icons next to each OCI. That's that favorite button that I was talking about. I should give you like a quick disclaimer. The reason why I'm showing you this footage of what it looks like is because it's not ready for you to go into Artworks just yet and do this stuff. So we're giving you a preview of what it's going to look like on the night of the signups. And by the way, this recording will be available, accessible through our website. And our website also has just the sign-up process with the videos on the Internship Connect website. And we'll be telling you about that too. So the next step, you found the OCIs in the list. Let's apply to an OCI. And by applying, essentially what we're doing is this is the way that we're going to provide your resume to companies in advance. It's the first step in the process. And here's what that looks like. So you would select a company of interest. In this case, we'll do this test company. And then the top right, you can see that blue apply button. You can click apply. You can see that it already has a resume loaded from my profile. Or if you need to upload a new resume, you can select it from your computer and upload it on the spot. As I mentioned, though, it is better to load your resume and portfolio sample in advance to speed up this process. All right, so we've found the OCI, we applied to the OCI. What's next? So there's something to keep in mind about this first sign-up night on the 19th. We have a 6 interview limit or meeting limit. Now I have this word 6 highlighted. And that's because we have a new feature for this year with Internship Connect. We used to constrain the signups to 3 signups or 3 interviews. But this Internship Connect, we're expanding it to 6. We're trying to make this sign-up process as efficient as possible, and based on the data that we've seen in signups in previous events, it looks like this is still going to provide an equitable experience for everyone to get a fair shot at times for the schedules. Yes? So the question was, is that 6 over one day or 6 over both days? This is going to be 6 over both days to start with. But I'll give you a quick spoiler. The next step after this will be day 2, where we lift that limitation and you're able to sign up to more. But before we get there, I'll just show you what it looks like to sign up on a schedule. And please keep in mind the system will allow you to double book yourself, so you want to make sure that you don't do that. So here's what it looks like to get onto the schedule. We've already applied to an OCI. We're picking up where we left off from the last video. So you can select a time, and this will load with a much larger schedule. When there are open time slots, you get this really vibrant blue button. It's very obvious that a time is available. If you're going to a very popular company and all of the time slots are gone, we wish that this was more intuitive, but if you only see a blank screen and no blue buttons, that means that the schedule has been filled. We have given feedback to our platform provider to make some kind of signal that this is filled up to make it more explicit, but at this time, this is the indicator. No blue buttons, no available times, okay? So by selecting a time, you get a confirmation button that shows the time that you've selected, and you need to confirm it by clicking OK. And when you've successfully booked it, you will get this second window dialog, which will say success. This means you've gotten onto the schedule. And now, when we look at the OCI, it looks different. We can see this green bar down here where we can see a link to the meeting. So when the time comes for your scheduled time slot, this is where you'll click on that button to access the meeting and join the employer, the company representative. Make sense? All right. So sometimes what will happen is you'll be booking your OCIs, trying to get onto schedules, and you may come up against some schedules that are full, and you may want to earn back or get a rebate for one of those OCIs that you just applied to, right? So if you've spent your 6 chances, maybe you want to withdraw an application to get one of those chances back so that you can try to get onto another schedule. So the way to do that is you withdraw your application. It's very simple, actually. And again, just a reminder, we're limited to 6 applications on that first night. And so the way that it looks is you'll go to withdraw from application with that button, and you simply click withdraw. And now you've earned back one of your spots to use elsewhere. Now for signups on day 2, which is the following day, Thursday, October 20th, at 12 p.m., so right at lunchtime, we will be lifting the application limit so that you can make more applications. Well, for starters, you may want to get onto other time slots that are still available with other companies. You can apply to any company and submit your resume and your portfolio sample, which is optional if you just want them to have your information for future follow-up. And by the way, we do want to stress that if you apply, so you don't get onto a schedule, but you apply to an OCI because you'd love to have connections with a company of interest, the Career Center actively encourages that company to accept any outreach from you after the event. So you'll hear us saying, like, you didn't get to talk to so-and-so at the event? No problem. Let's follow up with them. Let's send them a note and let them know that you didn't get to meet with them, but you'd love to speak with them in the future. We've seen many, many times where students scored a meeting after the event, which was super valuable. And maybe it gets to run longer. You never know. We also hear that sometimes students come up against employers that are too busy to follow up right away. And so in that case, the Career Center will encourage you to be persistent and continue to reach out into the future. The signups will close for final the evening, like just before midnight on Thursday. So that is an overview of the sign-up process. So, and I'll let Susan take it from here.
Thank you, Jason. So this is the point at which we can talk about who's attending. And Jason showed you that you can go into Artworks and look at the OCIs and determine which companies that way. But also you can find the companies that are participating on the Internship Connect website under the Participating Companies tab that you see there. So as Jason mentioned, we have over 80 companies this year, which is really exciting. And again, just a great reflection on their interest in meeting with you and other students. So I hope you take pride in that, because that's literally why they're excited to participate, is to meet with you. So that being said, I'm just going to point out a couple of companies in particular of interest in a moment, but just to say a bit more about the website. Within each entry on the participating companies page, you'll see obviously the company name, and then following that, the date or dates in which they're attending. So you have a sense of which days they'll be participating. There was a question earlier about when you're signing up on the first day, are you signing up for both days or one day? It really depends on the company, honestly, and which night they're participating, or if they're participating both nights. So that's one detail to take account of. We also list the majors that the companies said that they were interested in when they registered. So just take a good look at that to be sure that you're making, it's making sense for you to sign up for a particular company based on your interest and based on your RISD major. And then, as Jason mentioned earlier, it's also a very good idea for you to take a look at this company list in advance, if you can spend some time doing that this week or early next week, and making a priority list for yourself. So you have a good idea of who are the top companies and those that you're really most interested in meeting with. And I would say, a list from 1 to 12, for example, because that gives you plenty of options on the first night that you're doing your signups to hopefully get onto schedules with the top 6 or 7 or 8 of the companies you had in mind. So just keep all that detail in mind. And just to give you some quick insight on some of the companies that are participating, Jason and I selectively chose these just to point out to you. So Limited is a technology and design company. They do a lot of experiential design, immersive design, very, very interesting work. So just as a quick example of a company like that. Along with So Limited is another company, Robert A.M. Stern Architects, or RAMSA for short. And they do a lot of college campuses, a lot of sort of traditional architecture for those of you who might have interest in that type of design work. We also are representing the fine art world a bit at Internship Connect as well. 203 Fine Art is an artist-run gallery that will be participating. DreamWorks Animation, a name that many of you know, I'm sure, that would be interested in meeting with students who are obviously doing animation, illustration, storyboarding, character design, that type of thing. Kokrobaiti Institute in Ghana is another nonprofit that does a lot of work around art and culture and community and making partnerships between communities, both internally in Ghana and externally in other countries. So again, for any of you that have interests in those areas, that would be an organization I would highly encourage you to consider taking a closer look at and possibly meeting with. Landscape Elements is a local landscape architecture firm that's run by a RISD grad, Elena Pascarella. Mythology is a design company, graphic design, branding agency in New York City that is, their creative director is a RISD grad. And they attended 2 years ago and have hired interns each summer since. So one of the other themes here with the companies in attendance that I haven't mentioned yet, but is an important detail, is that probably about 30% or so of the reviewers or representatives attending are RISD grads. So that is also just kind of I think, a great moment for students to have that point of connection with somebody who has shared the same education to a degree that you are having currently, and who can give you really good insight about the company, what they do, what it might be like for you should you decide to apply to an internship that they have, and hopefully it gives you just a really rich, interesting conversation to take away, good thoughts with, and keep in mind as you're considering your applications to that company and possibly others. Our own RISD Museum will be hiring interns for next summer, so for those of you who are interested in working in the museum. In our backyard, Hasbro, of course, has an internship program, and they regularly hire interns from RISD as well. Nick and Zoe is an apparel company. Jason actually had an opportunity to visit this summer just outside of Boston and has taken RISD interns for past several summers also. Chronicle Books, which is in San Francisco, is a fantastic publishing company that creates and produces beautiful books, really beautiful books, traditional books. So for those of you who are interested in that type of design work, Chronicle is one to consider. They also host a year-long fellowship after graduation. That's really a wonderful experience. It's essentially a full-time job for a year where you're exposed to all aspects of what goes on in Chronicle from the standpoint of design and publishing again. And then lastly, just as another example for this evening, Textile Arts Center is participating this year for the first time, but they've hired interns in the past. They're located in Brooklyn, and it's essentially a textile open studio where they do education around textile design and creating with fiber, and rent studio space to designers that would like to produce in that venue as well. So you can see, looks like a really beautiful, exciting place to be. So in terms of opportunity, our effort is to try and bring as many kinds of companies and organizations that would appeal to as many disciplines at RISD as possible. So again, keep in mind when you're looking over the list which ones seem kind of really on point for you, and add them to your list. So with that said, I'm going to turn it back to Jason to talk about the materials that you'll need to have ready to prepare to be ready to attend and participate.
Okay, so you're producing materials and sharing them so that the company has an indication of what your capabilities and skills are. And so we're talking about a resume, which is really straightforward. It's something that would be glad to advise anyone that's developing their resume in preparation for the event. Professionals will receive your resume prior to meeting with you, so this will give them an opportunity to read up on you and potentially look at your credentials and experiences. You can see examples of resumes in our resume guide, which is at the following link under Career Prep on our website. There's a link for resume and CV. Definitely check that out if you haven't already. Great visual examples of existing resumes to base yours off of. And then optional is a portfolio sample. It's limited to 1 or 2 pages to showcase your work. The way to curate for your portfolio sample is to consider pieces in your portfolio that would be most relevant to the organization that you're meeting with. So this would feature your key creative skills, and hopefully it serves almost as like a teaser or a preview of what's to come, so that a professional would want to learn more from you and see more of your work. So these are some examples on the right of successful portfolio samples. Now, what do you say to get the most out of these conversations? And as I had said before, really, this event is modeled around the real-world conversations that you'll be having. So this is great training to help you get prepared. So a great place to start is to look at actually the OCI that's in Artworks. We've added some new data to the registration form for the professionals this year, and so I'm going to magnify this OCI a bit so that we can see. So we are now asking the professional what they would like to cover in their meeting agenda. Now, to be honest with you, you'll probably notice that the meeting agenda does largely look the same from company to company. There are some differences here and there, but in some ways we're also trying to get the professional to consider what will you be talking about during these conversations. The reason for this is actually in response to a survey, and I do want to put in a plug after the event. If everyone could participate in our survey to let us know what you think and things that we could improve upon. This was actually a result of our survey. We got feedback from both professionals and students that sometimes they don't know what the agenda is. And so here we're trying to promote more visibility and more clarity on what the agenda can be. Another question that we asked, again in response to the student survey, is we asked the company if they're hiring. This is great, to be able to see in black and white on the OCI whether or not they're hiring for one or more interns this year, or they also have the option to say that they're only networking for future networking connections. So if you see that, that's a great indicator and great news. I've been doing the OCIs and most of them say that they have internships available. So we're really encouraged by that. Now, we're approaching a new professional. How do we start the conversation? So, a good introduction is strongly advised. You can cover your name, your preferred pronouns, your in school major. You can explain why you're interested in them. So sometimes we get a question, you know, I'm in textiles, but I don't see that this company lists textiles as their preferred major. Well, you are welcome to meet with the companies even if they don't have your major listed in that participating companies page. However, you should be prepared to give them a brief explanation of why you feel you're interested in them and your work is relevant to what they do. You can also ask for the professional's introduction, and it's also helpful sometimes if you feel as though the meeting has a little bit of a lull at first and you'd like to get it going. You can propose a brief agenda for the meeting, or you can ask if they have one in mind. So sometimes students will say, like, would you like to drive or would you like me to drive, in a sense? And professionals really appreciate that courtesy, you know, and it also shows a great level of professionalism when you start a meeting that way. So it's also important to keep in mind that you should be confident. You know, these professionals are here to see you. I know that I mentioned that we had a very strong turnout for Internship Connect this year, and that's because of all of you. So try to be yourself and try to share your capabilities and your interests and passions. Try to be yourself. So you can share your interests, skills, and passions as they relate to the company's industry. You might share why you chose your major or your graduate program, or what you hope to learn from or contribute to in an internship opportunity. And it's great to have some meaningful questions prepared for each company. You may hear some examples to consider, like what types of internships are available this year? Or what are you looking for in a potential candidate? How are interns involved in the work of the company? You know, many times these internships are contributing real work for the production. You're not just doing some lighthearted role as an intern. You're doing real work. And it's great to learn more about that potential in these conversations. When is the best time to apply? That's certainly a question that I hear a lot. You know, it's so hard to tell. Every company has a different timeline. So why not ask them up front, when's a great time to get involved and to try to get my name in for the running for an internship? It's also a great idea to ask the representative about their role in the company. they might be able to share some of their passions with you about why they like their job or their role or how long they've been there. That's excellent information. You get them feeling comfortable and talking about their role, and you can just be in listen mode and learn a lot about the culture of the company. What the representative chooses to say about the role is going to reveal a lot about the culture of the company. So these are some examples, and I mentioned that this presentation will be available online, but I'll just run through one of them so far. So my name is Jaleesa Downing, and I'm a sophomore in interior architecture. I was so excited to see that RH would be at Internship Connect, as I'm very interested in design for the home environment. And I noticed on LinkedIn multiple RISD alumni have interned at the company. So far through my classes, I've been developing a deep understanding of materials. I've also begun to teach myself SolidWorks and Adobe Creative Suite. I've done some lighting design projects. So we're really getting into some of the real evidence of your work and skills as it relates to the employer. And so you can ask the representative, what do you look for in an intern? And what do interns usually do as part of the team at RH? So you can learn what the day in the life is of these interns. There is some etiquette that I think at this point we're all very well aware of, but it's always important to make sure that we're taking this event seriously and being well prepared for it. So not only do you want to test all of your technical equipment, such as the Wi-Fi and the camera and video, and make sure it's running properly, reduce your background distractions. If you're in a studio with your fellow students, that might not be the best spot to be doing your meetings. Improving the lighting will improve the video quality and give you like a better experience. Again, you probably know a lot of these things already. It is worth, even though this is a remote event, it is worth dressing intentionally, so it doesn't have to be like business formal or anything, but just dress intentionally, like you're presenting yourself as if you really care, And be engaged, just be mindful of your body language. There are, usually when we start out this event and we're in person, you start with a handshake or something, and you can give a lively handshake to get things going, show that you're a motivated person. So in this case, we've got to rely on our visuals. So try to seem engaged and energized and ready, Now, just like networking, just like making connections, just like anything else, if you're making connections and starting relationships through Internship Connect, nothing happens if you don't follow up. I mean, sometimes maybe somebody will be so blown away that they'll follow up and chase after you after the event, but let's assume that being proactive and following up is going to be the best way to secure your connections for the future. So you can send a thank you within the first week. The main points to include in your message is to thank them, mention any meaningful details of your conversation that might spark their memory, and to also show them that you were really paying attention. Of course, express interest in their internships that are coming up. And it's also a great idea if, I know this is the first time we're mentioning LinkedIn. Maybe some of you are new to LinkedIn. If you are, please come to see us because we'd love to get you on board with using LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a great tool for building your professional network, and it's such an easy way to build your connections for the future. We highly encourage you to. Even though it has an appearance where it looks pretty stiff and corporate, it is friendly to all majors, fine art, design. Anyone at RISD will get a lot out of using LinkedIn. And keeping in touch, we actually have some great information on our website. Under the networking page, under Career Prep, we have your strategy and a primer on networking, but a big one is keep in touch. And here I have it highlighted. We actually recommend 3 topics for keeping in touch. Just real quick, those topics are, what kinds of things can you mention about the company? So maybe you see a new product release, or you see that they're their art director is interviewed in an industry publication, or you just like discover one of their products or services and you love it. Share some of that enthusiasm. Topic 1. Topic 2, you're doing cool stuff every day here at RISD. What things are you learning or new discoveries have you made that you can share with them to add value to this outreach? And lastly, just express your goal. So you're hoping for an internship for this summer with XYZ company. We recommend this outline because it has such an improvement to the quality of your outreach. Just think, most people are sending an email that almost sounds like nagging. Hello, me again, checking in to see if there's any internships. That has no value. Offering these 3 topics, what do I love about what you're doing? Here's something I'm working on or learning, and I want to get an internship with you. This will set you apart from all the other emails that these professionals are receiving, okay? And following up after an initial meeting, here's some of the values. You know, it helps you develop those lasting professional connections, and that can help in your search and application for internships. So imagine you're applying for a position with many, many other applicants, but what's different for you is you have been keeping your connections with that company, and now you can reach out to them and let them know that you applied. That is a fantastic way, a proven way, to be pulled out of the crowd and to get attention when you make that application. So that's why you're all here. You're taking this seriously. You want to network with folks. Let's take advantage of this awesome opportunity. And you'll get the chance to share new work with them later in this semester as an update, just as I was talking about, keeping in touch. And hopefully, you know, it's usually the timing is good for New Year's to check in about any opportunities that might be coming up for the summer. You know, some of the biggest companies may have internships posted already. Some of the smaller studios might not be ready until the spring. We have no way of knowing. This way, by being proactive and checking in, you'll get some insider info about what might be coming up. So I see a question.
Do you recommend that we follow up with them between when we sign up and when we actually talk to them, like during the meeting?
Oh, do we recommend reaching out after signing up, like before meeting with them?
Yeah.
There's no harm in doing that. You know, we typically call it a follow-up, like after the event, and that can be a meaningful way to secure the relationship in a way. But if you want to reach out, that is totally up to you. And I will say that LinkedIn is a very gentle way of reaching out. And so I would encourage you to do so if you're motivated to do it. We mean it when we say it. We hope that you'll come and see us in the Career Center for an appointment or for drop-ins. This is our schedule for drop-in hours. Every day we have hours at least 11 to 1 Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and 9 to 1 on Monday and Friday. That gives you 15 minutes to come in to get a meaningful question answered. We could take a peek at your resume, or you can book a 30 or 45-minute appointment with us. And these are our advisors here as part of our team. We have 6 advisors that are available to you for appointments. And we'd like to open it up for any questions, but we also respect and appreciate everyone's time tonight. So thanks for hanging in there with us, and really look forward to you participating for Internship Connect. But we're available for questions.